Okay, so we're going to be looking at a tournament right here. I want to give credit to, of course, Ursiiday for the start. It's Ursiiday's Pocket Weekly tournament, and so this is actually a really good opportunity if you are a competitive player, if you want to at least test your might, test your mettle, right? And so what we're going to see, since this is my first time doing the analysis, is like we're kind of limited by who was streaming it. You know, like they don't have a spectator client in this game, Pokemon TCG Pocket, so I do have to rely on either the kindness or just the gumption of other people to stream it, right? And so we're kind of from the player perspective of Xatumi. I'm at least hoping that's how you say that name. Xatumi, like Xatu the Pokemon, am I? And they're going up against Anti, and I guess I won't reveal the final what happens in this round, but it was like really interesting because we're looking at the meta of the Pikachu EX deck going up against essentially the meta of a Mewtwo EX deck. Now, we'll try to put both players, their cards on the screen right here so that you can see exactly what these decks are composed of, because it's really interesting. And I think this will only get built out more as more cards get introduced to the game, right? And so we are going to look to the future, but right now it's like those are very specifically two decks that you may run up against, whereas the other one's going to be the Charizard EX, right? And so Anti does get that Mewtwo EX out on the field right now, and Xatumi, it seems like they are set up really well. You know, he's got the Pikachu EX, he's got full bench, he's got it how we mostly would want it. It's just like the main thing, of course, is you have to consider like, okay, well, who goes first, who goes second, like those types of things. You have to consider your hand. You know, there's certain factors that you can't control, obviously, within TCG, and I'm a little bit more TCG Pocket, so if you're gonna ask me questions about the actual real, like, physical TCG, I never got super into that in the later stages. Man, as a kid in, like, the 90s, very late 90s, early 2000s, I used to play. That was just base set and jungle, basically, in those days, but, like I was saying, this is, it's fascinating, because, yeah, they are gonna switch to Mewtwo EX. They are ready to attack. Of course, you can do the Psychic Sphere right now with 2 energy, but the crazy thing is that Anti's deck right there, it is just the Gardevoir line and just the Mewtwo EX, and you can only have a maximum of 2 cards, essentially, that are duplicate, right? So, you know, Pikachu EX, you can have 2. You can't have, like, the Pikachu EX that Xatumi has and then throw in, like, an interactive Pikachu EX. No, like, that's all the same card, essentially, but you could have, like, the chonk Pikachu, you know, the fat Pikachu that just does gnaw. But yes, we did see our first attack on the board right there with Mewtwo EX, and so right now, Professor's research going out, and obviously switching to Zapdos, you know, that was good in retrospect to have the lasting power, right? Like, imagine if Anti had a Giovanni or something, like that 60 could have taken out that Blitzel, right? And so Zapdos does have a little bit more HP, just the general lasting power. They are all kind of a retreat of 1 cost. And so it was really nice that Xatumi did have that X speed, right? Because then we don't have to sacrifice an energy for that. If you didn't need to, didn't have to. And so finally, Xatumi gonna put the damage out here on the board. This Pikachu, of course, 90 damage on that max without a weakness, of course. But we can see now with Gardevoir, it's, this is, I think that's, yeah, so there it is. You're gonna see Xatumi does concede right here. That is just brutal because the Gardevoir, for those who don't know, the ability, you'll take energy from the energy zone and just attach it to the active Pokemon, and so then they also, Anti was able to attach an energy just for the turn itself. So absolutely brutal right here, and so it is going to go on to another round. You know, these are best of 3 right here. You know, we're not looking at like a finals match, like I said. It was in the top 100 players, actually like the top 70, and this was from Ursiiday's Pocket Weekly #1. This was the first tournament, so there were like certain kinks to work out and stuff. There's not really a whole lot of tournaments yet, although they're already starting to hit the scene. And by the way, I offer myself as a caster for any of those. I did cast Pokemon Unite professionally and in the grassroots and all that, but ladies and gentlemen, Zapdos EX right here. The hand doesn't have the Pikachu right now. You can still make do, but we know that Xatumi does want to get the Pikachu EX, fill up that bench, and so there's going to be Mewtwo EX right away over there on Anti's side, as they are now in the second game. Sabrina pulled right here, but it was kind of massive that they did get that Gardevoir. I think they also had like a pretty significant red card play on Anti's side. You know, Anti played that red card. It was like all kind of set up very well for Anti in the last match, so we're gonna have to see. Can Xatumi, it's gonna be tough. You know, your motivation, you're probably like, that was scary. And so we are seeing plenty of Zapdos presence, right? You got your Zapdos EX ×2 right here. Got our regular Zapdos if they want to fill up the bench right now. It does look like they are gonna go ahead and do that. Look at that beautiful flare going down as well. Xatumi obviously going first, can't place an energy, so that means that Anti right away with that Ralts on the board. And again, when only Mewtwo EX and the Ralts Evolution line. When those are your only actual Pokemon cards, then it's going to be a pretty good chance that you'll get them, and especially if you have a Pokeball, Professor's Research, something to let you draw. Well, let's see it. So there's the Zebstrika, and they are going to have X speed right now, just in case they need that. Obviously, with a full bench right here, if they did get Pikachu EX here on Xatumi's side, a Pokemon would have to faint, ultimately. They don't have any cards that, for instance, bring it back up to your hand or anything like that. That's going to be Kirlia already right now from anti-side, so I know Xatumi's probably breaking a sweat right here. You know, it's tough. And so Zebstrika, again, you evolved right there. Even if you're not going to attack with Zebstrika, that was good, right? Because we do have a little bit more of that staying power, a little bit more HP, and still the low retreat cost. And yes, it could take 1 energy to attack with Zebstrika, but Xatumi has the Zapdos on the bench right now that I'm sure they want to build that up. And yeah, we're taking a little bit longer on this turn because it's like, geez, what are we going to do right here? I mean, we may have to sacrifice Zebstrika right now to then have Zapdos EX be the aggressor essentially into the next attack. And then you're going to have to hope on the coin flips, right? Because now, look at this, Anti getting Gardevoir again. I mean, listen, like I said earlier, it's like kind of inevitable with those being the only Pokemon, but that Psy Shadow, this is just brutal. Already going to have it, and enough energy is going to be stacked up. So if Xatumi then can now, maybe with the luck of the coins, you gotta have the coins. I mean, 75% chance, right? You flip 4 coins and do 50 damage per heads. There's the Pikachu EX. So again, this is all gonna probably come down to the RNG of the coin toss, which, you know, when your fate is up in the hands of the RNGesus, I'm not so sure. Yeah, that coin technique, no, it's gonna be tails. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. So that Thundering Hurricane only on 1 heads is gonna do 50 damage. Again, they needed that 3 really badly, right? You'd pick up 2 prize packs from the Mewtwo EX, stop its momentum, but no, they are gonna concede right there. Xatumi, man, it's just, this could have gone either way, especially in game 2, but it was no joke, you know, having that Gardevoir line out there. And so yeah, I just want to pull back from game 1, that moment of that red card, because I did want to verify that. So yeah, they were kind of cooking with that because it got the X speed out of play, but Xatumi ended up drawing that again, but it got the Sabrina out of play, right? Like, imagine if he could have Sabrina pulled Kirlia in and somehow gotten the KO or something like that. You know, again, some of this is iffy, right? Would that have happened how they wanted it? I don't know. You guys, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think, and we'll show some more of these tournament spectator commentaries coming up pretty soon. Click an end screen, and thanks for viewing.